Hey, what is going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to Whatever for the 11th of March, 2019. It's been a while. It's been a minute since we've done one of these things. I was thinking long and hard about it, to be honest with you, right? Like I'm always kind of in turmoil in regards to this channel. What I want to do with it, what I want to talk about it, how I want to approach it, these things that I want to do. And truth be told, it's always kind of a hit or miss, a mixed bag of where things are and where things are going. And I figured to myself, over the course of this weekend, I sat back and I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm going to do what I want. And what I want to do is I want to get back into where things were last year. I really enjoyed doing, at the time, the Mundane Matt Show. Sitting here with you guys, live recording the content for the next day. I felt that was a great way to talk to you guys, to get an idea for what it is you guys wanted to hear me talk about. A lot of you submitted stories, and a lot of you came pouring on in every single night at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It was great. And then I got away from it. It got away from me. And it's one of those unfortunate factors of when you do this as a job. Some things, do well. Some things don't. You got to figure it out as time goes on. So the way this is going to work, the way we're going to attempt this, and it's going to take a couple days probably to get to that point. But the day we're going to do that is, or what we're going to do, is go through what I'm be posting tomorrow, and of course you guys in the process of all this can send me questions if you want me to answer questions coming in through the email peskyadblock@gmail.com. You can also submit your own articles. You can submit stories, things you want me to talk about. And I got a few of them already. I forgot the email was up the last couple of days. And you guys can send that in there. You can also, and this is where it's going to get, interesting, very interesting. You guys can send in voicemail. You can call in and leave a voicemail if you want at 323-207-0499. And at the end, we'll play those. At the end, if anyone calls in, you don't have to if you don't want to, but you guys can call in if you want. Leave a voicemail. We'll play it. I have a feeling it could be very interesting. I think it could be very, very, very interesting, depending on what exactly gets said, what exactly gets brought up. So let me just kind of take a look here at the chat. What's going on, Valor? How you doing? Luna Spark. Well, what's going on? Anthony, how you doing? Did anyone watch Red Letter Media's Captain Marvel review? Considering you sent it to me on Twitter, I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I was going to watch it later on. Because I've seen the movie, so it's not going to be spoiler to watch it, as happens if you watch those things without ever having actually seen the movie. So, what's it there? I don't want to see it either. I don't want to push my white privilege into a movie. Considering that 61% of all viewers of Captain Marvel, at least in the United States, were men, it does really beg the question, where are the women at? Where are the women at? Where were they? They kept saying, this is a movie. And they kept saying, this is a big show. This is a big thing. This is a big how to do. And yet, nothing happened. Nothing really happened. There's a 61% men. And I have a theory on that. My theory on that ultimately boils down to this. It has a lot to do with the fact that there are people like that are what they call Marvel zombies, right? And this is true. What they call Marvel zombies. Like MCU zombies. People that are so indoctrinated into the concept of the MCU, right? People that are so indoctrinated into it. Spent 11 years, gone to every movie in the theater, seen it multiple times, bought it on home video, bought it on DVD, bought it again on Blu-ray, will buy it again on whatever the next format is. They're the ones that showed up to see this movie. 21st film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, leading into Endgame, merely weeks away, wanting to know how it ties together, wanting to know exactly where things are with it, how it's going to go down. Where does Captain Marvel fit into all this shit, right? Those are questions people had, and they're good questions. None of which really get answered in the movie, by the way. It's a middle-of-the-road mediocre film. You know, it on the scale of quality that Marvel is used to, it ain't that high. You'd like it to be that high, but it ain't that high. So it's worth it to watch if you're a fan. If you're a fan. All right, I'm just going to be honest with you. If you are a fan, it is something worth checking out. That is true. So let me just, there's one thing I did forget to add here. I got to find it. There was a Streamlabs feature I wanted to add in, provided I can get it to work. Let me see if I can find it here, because it's I don't see it up here right now. There we go. They moved it. They updated a couple things. Maybe now it will actually work. The other day I tried getting Streamlabs to work on here, and it was just having all sorts of problems, man. Nothing but just problems. So if anyone here wants to donate, if you want to help out the show, you totally can. Totally can. And that's going to be over streamlabs.com/Mundane Matt. And if we're gonna test a theory here real quick, we're gonna drop one in. This should be enabled. Okay. Yeah, let me just launch to make sure that's working. Kind of. All right, we're gonna see here real quick, because I want to make sure that this actually works. Okay. Let me just, if you guys can see that real quick. All right. So we're going to do a tester. We're going to do a test. What was this one? Donation? Okay, you guys. Okay, you guys couldn't hear that. We'll try that one more time, because you couldn't hear that. So if you want to know what that is, we'll actually hear. Let me just drop that down a bit. We're going to pop that in. We're going to actually just kind of pop that. Clear it up. If I could get the alt to work a little bit. Okay. There we go. All right, this should be good. Yeah. So we've got ourselves a little fun little bit there for donations, and I believe super chats that come in as well have it as well. So super chats or donations will get you a nice Dancing Matt GIF and a very lovely turn off that pesky ad block, as said by Based Tyrone, because nothing but the finest here on the Whatever Podcast. Nothing but the finest memes. Nothing but the finest memes. So there's that. That was pretty good. All right. Jay Caesar here says, Battle Angel will probably be the first movie I'm buying on 4K. Yeah, man, Battle Angel was great. I can't recommend it enough. Let's see here. Did I hear people are saying they're empty theater seats? Well, yeah, I mean, that didn't really bother me though, Anthony. The reason why is because, the whole thing was, what's the word I want to use here? The whole situation was 4,300 seats or screens. Disney put this movie in, right? 4,300 screens. So the highest amount of screens showing one movie at any given time are because, are Captain Marvel. So as a result of that, what you have here is a situation where there were going to be empty seats. I don't view it as that being that big of a deal. Here's the thing. There's a lot with this movie you can easily take to tinfoil land. There's a lot here you could legitimately criticize. A great deal you could criticize. The problem, though, is that people don't choose the right things to criticize. They really don't. What they choose is like empty seats in a theater without looking up to see how many movies or how many screenings there are. On Thursday night at my local, little 14-screen cinema, there were 16 shows between 7 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. I mean, like, they put this movie in a lot of theaters. They stacked the damn deck with it. And a lot of people out there don't realize that, but that's okay. My girl Riley is doing good, man. She's doing good. She just turned 15 months a week ago. And we're doing good. She's going through one of those fun toddler moments where she wakes up at 2 a.m. and just starts screaming. makes your mom's life a living hell. And I feel really bad because that's no fun. That's no fun. It wakes me up too. And then I am like, oh, I'm so tired. But she's just screaming up a storm. So there's that. But that's okay. Oops. Pause that. I don't know what the hell that's doing up there. All right. So why don't we jump into today? I got a fair amount to talk about today. I got a fair amount. But first things first, why don't we, if you guys are here, why don't you go and slap on that like button. Hey, get that up there a little bit, you know. Had some people try to come in and downplay the party a bit, but we're all good here. So why don't we jump into that? And hey, what's up, Leplorome? How you doing? How's it going, buddy? Things are going well, I hope. And first things first. All right, we're going to talk about the story that was in the headline, that was in the thumbnail of tonight's podcast. Of course, Martin Shkreli. This dude, man, this guy finds himself in just an absolute utter world of shit constantly. And I can't quite figure it out if it's just because he is who he is or if he just has that shit of luck. I mean that legitimately. Like, a lot of people out there defend this guy. They do. They defend him like, oh, he wasn't doing anything bad. He wasn't, defrauding anyone. He didn't screw up at all. The government, man, the government's coming after this guy. And, and to be fair, I think part of that might be true. But at the same time, he's got one of the most smug, punchable faces. And this is coming from me, who also has a smug, punchable face. I can acknowledge that. But Martin Shkreli here got in trouble because he was running his business illegally from behind bars. Which is amazing. Which is absolutely amazing. That he was doing that. So it says here, Martin Shkreli, the controversial pharmaceutical entrepreneur who was convicted of fraud and conspiracy charges, is now facing federal investigation into his behavior in prison. The Bureau of Prisons has opened an investigation into Shkreli after the Wall Street Journal reported that he was secretly leading his pharmaceutical enterprise using a cell phone behind bars. Now, think about this for a second here. The Bureau of Prisons had no knowledge that Shkreli was running the show from behind the scenes. They had no knowledge whatsoever. All they knew is that he was behind bars and he was where he was supposed to be for the next 6 years, I think. 6 years. He got 7 years. And then they find out through the Wall Street Journal reporting that he was running the scene using a contraband cell phone. Now, in and of itself, this is not a huge story. In and of itself, this is not something that I would be like, oh my God, no, Martin, what have you done? Because contraband cell phones are nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, they're pretty established when it comes to prison contraband. People can get in anything. And the cell phone just seems to make a lot of sense. And I'm not going to lie, if I were Martin, I'd probably want someone to smuggle in a smartphone up their ass. So then I could at least play some goddamn Candy Crush while serving out my time. Now, the Bureau here says, when there are allegations of misconduct, they are thoroughly investigated and appropriate action is taken if such allegations are proven true. The allegation is currently under investigation. Now, they said here that federal inmates are prohibited from having cell phones or running businesses. If convicted of having a cell phone, Shkreli could face up to 1 year of additional prison time or a fine, according to the law. Other disciplinary options are also possible if he's found to have conducted business behind bars. Now, here's the deal: is obviously they're talking about the pharmaceutical company here, right? They're talking about his pharmaceutical company. But what I love, if the lore could be ever crafted and molded and shaped into one thing involving Martin Shkreli and running a business from behind bars using an illegal cell phone, I want it to be over the Magic the Gathering cards. Did you guys ever hear about this? Because this is true. In the end of 2016, Martin Shkreli was making waves in the Magic the Gathering community because he was attempting to acquire Black Lotus cards to buy them up in order to increase their value. And it was pissing off Magic players. They were fucking furious with Shkreli over this one. I actually covered it in a video and he caught wind of it and he was none too happy for me. I believe his exact words for me were keep my name out of your mouth or something. You know, he's been behind bars for a while. So, fuck him. Now, the investigation marks the latest in a series of unusual twists in his career, who drew political ire for drug price hikes and was later convicted of unrelated charges associated with handling his financial investments. He's been a lightning rod for years, stemming from decisions like his reported $2 million purchase of a Wu-Tang album and his dismissal of Congress members as imbeciles. He earned the nickname Farmer Bro for his bombastic and independent ways. Again, this is funny too. In regards to that $2 million unreleased Wu-Tang album that was a coveted item for a long time. It was a hugely coveted item. He had threatened to buy it and then just release all the tracks for free. He never did. But then we come to find out that not every member of the Wu-Tang signed off on Skrelly's purchase here, meaning that this technical $2 million purchase is not considered a full Wu-Tang album. So what he bought was just an album, but not a Wu-Tang album. That on top of the fact that he is he put out almost I think it was a $5,000 bounty on like a lock of Hillary Clinton's hair or something during the election that he said was a joke. And that's why he ended up back in prison. Not even kidding you. Now, the Wall Street Journal revealed that Skrelly remains the shadow power at his drug company, Phoenixus, I can't even pronounce it, despite his residency at a low-security federal correctional institution. Yeah, Skrelly, who's serving a 7-year sentence, plans to acquire rare drugs to bolster his company's finances. The report quoted the Phoenixius board member Akil Mithani is saying it's widely known that Skrelly has a cell phone in prison. So the thing is, the board is even selling this guy out. Like, the board of directors of his company is selling this guy out. Now, I've also heard talks and I've also heard situations involving that he's still ruining this business. He's still costing them millions of dollars in the way that he's been going about things. Like, that's what I've been hearing. I have no idea how true that is. I have no idea, whatever. But what cracks me up about that, though, what really cracks me up about that is the fact that he just keeps getting caught doing dumb shit. Because he does. He keeps getting caught doing absolutely dumb things. And this is just Martin Skrelly in a nutshell. You know, like, the guy is obviously bombastic. He's obviously a troll. He obviously loves the attention. But now he's serving, you know, time behind bars. And if this report is accurate, so at this point, it's all alleged. Let's just be fair. It's all alleged. Then he's in a situation where he ain't going to be very happy. Not by a goddamn long shot. Speaking of someone who's not happy, speaking of someone who is currently very upset, and it's a weird place to be. Have you guys ever heard of the show called Sword and Scale? It's a true crime podcast. It's good. It is phenomenally good. I heard the first couple episodes a long time ago, and I'm all like, you know, there's no need for me to jump in this game, because I'd wanted to jump in the true crime podcasting sphere for a while, but I chose the life of being a YouTuber because, you know, clearly, if you know me, you know that I always make grand decisions, right? My decision-making skills are impeccable, never called into question at all. Always make the right choice, right? That's we're gonna roll with that. Okay, cool. My ego's in check. But anyway, this guy here, Mike Boudet, he lost. I don't quite know if he lost everything, but he's definitely in a weird place because Wondery, which is the media company that helps him out here with Sword and Scale, dropped him after his comment about dumb C words. It's very odd. Now, it says here, Wondery has dropped the podcast Sword and Scale after its host, Mike Boudet, after the post posted a comment about dumb cunts on International Women's Day. Saying here, we have decided to part ways with Mike and Sword and Scale, the podcast company tweeted one day after a firestorm over Boudet's latest online provocation. Now, on Friday, which was also International Women's Day, Boudet wrote in a now deleted post on Instagram, I don't understand dumb cunts. Maybe I should take one apart and see how it works. Now, to be fair, I have seen this meme before. I saw it on Instagram and on Tumblr, of all places. Right? Feminist activity hotbed on the internet. And this post was rolling around. Now, you you can kind of see the provocation based upon it being International Women's Day. You can. I don't think anyone out there is going to sit there and go, yeah, I don't know. I think this guy's, like he's on the up and up with this one. But no, he didn't do anything wrong here, by the way. I just want to make that abundantly clear. This particular post is just a meme. Just a meme. That's all it is. He's being provocative, being a bit of a dick, just a meme. That's all we are right now. However, if you can see the image, it's from the Sword and Scale Instagram, right? It's from the Sword and Scale official Instagram. This is not a small podcast, by the way. This is not a small show. This dude is big, and this is the official Instagram of it. So if he's making a joke on a personal account, that would, that's one thing. But this is on the official thing that is tied to Wondery Media. So you can kind of see why things progressed the way that they did. Again, I'm not defending this guy. I'm not defending him being fired. I'm saying this is obviously the optics explain everything. Now, he responded in a SoundCloud file and said that Sword and Scale will move to its own platform behind a paywall. What he's referring to on that one is Patreon. I'm not even kidding you. Patreon, I had it brought up. This is it right here. This is his Patreon right here, if you guys can see it. So Sword and Scale podcast, 14,857 members. By the way, this went up. When I first saw this the other day, I caught wind of the story as it was breaking. When it went up the other day, it was at 14,600 on the nose, with its base level supporter being $5 or more per month. So just do the math on that one there. Just do the general math at about $15,000. 15,000 people at $5 a month. I mean, this is what I don't get when he says, we're going to look at it too, but he's pulling in so much goddamn money. And yet at the same time, he says he has to close it all down. He does. He says he had to close it all down. He says here right now, as it stands, this is the end. We'll keep putting out plus episodes on Patreon until we move to our own platform, and then continue putting out episodes behind that payroll. Anything that was ad supported is over now because of Aaron Monkey from Lore and Rabia Ochowdhury from Undisclosed, who led this boycott against me and my company because they didn't like certain things I said. Now, listen, I can understand why neither one of those people liked what he said. It was a dumb, stupid meme. It was just a stupid meme. That's it. But at Wondery, again, they gotta protect themselves on this front too. And we live in this weird world now where this kind of disassociation and deplatforming is fucking common, right? It's absolutely positively fucking common, and it's annoying as shit. But it wasn't just like they got him taken down from like Patreon or what. I mean, hell, I actually have a feeling they're going for him next, to be honest with you. I have a feeling they are going for him next. Now, this is a guy too, by the way. This is a guy too that had threatened to quit Patreon when, and I think he was trying to quit Patreon when Sargon got the boot. He was on Sargon's side, very much saying, he's going to leave too, threatening to leave as being one of the biggest creators, definitely the biggest true crime podcaster on Patreon. You're looking at close to $75,000 a month is what this guy's bringing in. I mean, that's $900,000 a year just at a base $5 rate, right? Who knows how far up it goes? This guy's making fucking bank. But he had to lay off employees. He had to lay people off. That's what I don't get. If you're making $75,000 a month and all you're doing is a podcast, I mean, like, what were you doing? And he's getting ad revenue from Wondery and everything else too. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now it says here, even though Wondery cut ties with them, he does not want people to start boycotting the company or anyone that advertises with them, which is a good move. He says, I don't think anyone should ever take any sort of negative stance against Wondery. They should never be boycotted and should be allowed to conduct business as usual, which is, look, I can honestly really respect that train of thought. To be honest with you, I can. And the reason why is because so often we see these calls to action, right? When someone gets to a platform, it's the boycott, boycott, boycott. But that ultimately impacts a lot of other people. Right, that does. And then again, I think because, you know, when Sargon went down, he saw the ripple effect onto Patreon. And he himself might have actually felt part of that sting and doesn't want to add to it himself. And I actually can respect that particular mindset. I totally can. Now, Monkey responded to Baudet on Twitter saying, first, a podcast as popular as his should never have to cease production. He has all the tools he needs to run it independently. Not my fault. Second, his behavior on social media did this, not the complaints from me, and listing off the other people there. I would argue that's actually kind of a BS line. His actions on Instagram, while stupid, well, I think completely dumb to run that on your official account. I think that's dumb. I just think it's so stupid to do. But that's not the end of the damn world. He wasn't calling for anyone's cunt to be specifically tinkered with. You know, he wasn't taking on the alter ego and the DCEU of the cunt tinker. You know, like there wasn't going to be a Batman comic titled Hunt the Cunt. Nothing like that was going to go on. You know what I mean? Like he was just talking about like, I don't get how women work. Maybe I should take a look at their vagina. It's a dumb thing. That's all it is. Now, but according to this, though, he has a history of making sexist and derogatory comments, and his podcast that explores nonfiction stories of true crime has come under fire in the past. Episode 126 is proof Mike is a shitbag. One Sword and Scale listener posted after Baudet revealed the name of a previously anonymous kidnap victim who'd been brutally raped multiple times. So he named somebody. Now, look, the thing is, obviously, mistakes can happen in that regard when you're going through and you're compiling all this information. Maybe it can slip through the cracks. Maybe he did it on purpose. I don't know. But keep in mind, again, when something like this happens, when someone like this is bounded upon by these kind of people, it doesn't matter. Did you jaywalk in the 3rd grade? You're a scumfuck. That's what it is. We know this now. We all know this. After all these years, we all know this. Now, he's also faced backlash for a variety of comments about the LGBTQ community, the elderly, and mental illness. One of his podcast listeners wrote, there's a lot of podcasts that I love that have white cis males as hosts, but they're kind of tolerant. They're not disgusting, anti-women, homophobic, and transphobic assholes. See, here's the thing. When a person starts off a comment saying like, well, he's one of the few white cis hosts I can tolerate. Here's what you do. You take that comment, you crumple it up, and then you throw it out the goddamn window. Because if you're not, that's such a freaking, I don't want to offend anyone comment right there. Get fucked. I don't like that at all. But here's the thing, is the guy is laying off people, which I don't get. Moving to, you know, the Patreon only thing at 14,000. Jeez. You know, I don't get it. He's going to put it all behind a paywall. I guess doing a podcast like this takes time. It takes time. You have to, you have to sit there and you have to research it and put it together. And they're long shows. You know, they're not like watching a YouTube video where it's like 7 minutes of a clip of an article read or something and the person giving their opinion. It's a long thing. And I respect the guy's work for being able to do it. I think what he said was stupid. I do. I think what he posted was stupid. Because is Mike Baudet, or Baudet, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. You know, Sword and Scale is a brand. It's a brand. It's one of the biggest true crime podcasts. It's one of the most popular true crime podcasts. It's bigger than him in regards to the fact that he employs people and that his actions can therefore impact his employees directly. So there's that to consider, but it's also a fucking brand. And if you're not going to be on brand on the account, then don't do it. That's what we have to learn here. It's like there's a difference between personal and business. Now, the guy runs the business, so he's got every right to do it. It's just dumb as fuck that he did. So, speaking of dumb as fuck, this actually really bothers me here. I wanted to talk about this. This happened tonight. YouTube. So you notice how I said YouTube and then I sighed greatly. Because I feel that's now how we have to discuss this platform, right? I love this platform. I'm on it 7 days a week. I love what I do. It is fantastic. But man, when you gotta start off by going YouTube, you know what I mean? There's trouble clearly in paradise. But this is an interesting one. So Jesse Cox, you know, the R-Traps gay guy from CoxCon, a dude who runs a convention with his own name. I'm sorry, I will never not mock that relentlessly. I just, you will never find JarboCon. Does have a nice ring to it. Not so much like CoxCon, which could also double as an LGBTQ event, but still, he runs his own 2-day convention in the UK every year, and he's got his own controversies and whatnot, right? Anyway, so he says, this is 2 hours ago. YouTube straight up removed one of my old videos because it was a dating sim with sexy dialogue. No nudity, just the text of a character thinking dirty stuff. So for the record, showing violence is acceptable, but to think about sex is not. Don't want kids to get the wrong idea. And then a reaction gif of Justin Timberlake looking dead into the camera and really kind of looking at it disapprovingly. And the truth of the matter is he's right. He absolutely is 100% right. And the reason why he is because YouTube does not know how to fucking handle sex. They don't. They, honest to God, do not know how to handle sex. Now, in many cases, like in what we saw at the end of 2017 with some of those family vlog channels that were turning into some weird stuff involving kids, by all means, I'm 100% okay with them, cutting that shit off at the knees. I am 100% okay with that stuff because that was like going into weird, creepy territory. What we saw recently with the Matt's What It Is situation with these videos of young children that weren't doing anything innocuous or anything bad. It was all innocuous. And then the perverts coming in and making the perverted comments with the timestamps. You know what I mean? Like, that's something I get. Like, that's what I get. Cut that shit off at the knees. But a dating sim with some sexy dialogue, I was listening to a live stream the other day where I had it on, and I'm not a fan of this particular person, but I just had it on as I was doing some work, and I had to stop because he literally just started dropping the N-bomb for no reason whatsoever. Just started massively dropping the N-bomb. This is a white dude, by the way, not aimed at a person on the show, but talking about an African American. Or I believe in that particular case, it was an actual African, and just dropping the N-bomb constantly. And I'm like, damn, dude, like I turned that shit off. So that's not something I care to hear. But it just cracked me up though, that YouTube doesn't, certain things are allowed. Certain things can be said. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not calling for anyone to be deplatformed for what he said. I'm really pointing out that it's just an extreme example. So he says that, Jesse Cox here has a dating sim game where the dude's thinking dirty stuff, right? And I guarantee you it wasn't one of those hentai dating sim games. Like the kind where the overall end goal is to bone your sister. Which is very true. There are a lot of them out there where it's all like, hey, let's go to the ski resort for the weekend, and you can go through a choose your own adventure of trying to nail every single chick that's there, including the teacher. And by the end of it, the true path to victory is to bed your sister. That was the weirdest goddamn game I've ever played. I got to that point, I turned it off. I'm like, what the hell? But YouTube ultimately doesn't understand that not everything involving that is going to be aimed at a way that's like, bad. Like, you shouldn't have it on there. Like the hentai game about banging your sister, totally, that's fine. Like if you're showing anything, like if it's nudity or something like that, I can see why getting rid of it. But if it's just dirty thoughts, it's one of those, you know what? Age gate that shit. Age gate it, move on with your time. The age gate is a great tool here on the platform, but removing old videos because of implications of text is very, very, very weird. And you know what? It's not just YouTube that does it. It happened to me on Twitter the other day. There was a story that broke about the head of Warner Brothers having potentially bedded a young actress in order to get her a part in some other Warner Brothers movies. And I just quote tweeted it. And I said, oh, it looks like the DCEU isn't the only thing this guy fucked. And it was a funny tweet. I thought it was one of my better, more clever ones. And then a few hours later, it was magically gone. It was magically removed. I didn't touch it. I thought it was funny. I wanted to share it. I was going to go retweet my own tweet because I'm that kind of sociopath. But the point is, they do these sort of things because they don't know how to handle sex. We live in such a weird, prudish society for these things. If no one is being hurt, if it's just a dating sim, age gate that shit, move on with your day. But if I can sit there and stream myself playing Call of Duty or Red Dead Redemption or Devil May Cry or any of these games where I can just brutally and violently eviscerate a body, and that's okay. It just takes me back to like South Park, right? South Park, the movie, 20 years old this year, by the way, because we're all fucking old. But 20 years ago, South Park, the movie came out, and it dealt with this exact same situation. How weird is that? That 20 damn years ago, South Park dropped, and the whole concept of Mothers Against Canada was you can show all the violence you want, but do not swear. Now, obviously, that's relating to curse words and violence from Terrence and Phillip cartoons, but apply the same logic to sex. You can show all the violence you want, do not show titty. If you show titty, you're going to hell. Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Super Bowl 2003. Whatever year that was, I don't know. But that's what I'm talking about here, folks. That's what I'm referring to here. The titty. The titty will take down nations, right? A dude getting torn apart, burned alive, shot repeatedly, crying out for their mother as they piss and shit blood in a digital street. Totally cool. Totally fine. But you show a titty, and all of a sudden it's the Trojan War all over again. And it's absolute bullshit. All right. Sorry, I need a drink of water. Let's talk about this story that's been going around. Because you know what? Like, it angers me to see this story here. And not honestly for the reason you might think. Young rapper faces felony charges, appears in court. Now, of course, the title itself seems kind of norm. Young up-and-coming rapper out of Atlanta ends up getting a felony charge, arrives in court to get himself thrown in jail, I guess, because he needs the street cred. I got no idea. It just feels like you see that sort of thing. It's a solid tactic in order to get the cred, in order to get the ink, to get the people talking about you. Rapper ends up in jail for doing this stupid thing. Pick up his album on SoundCloud or Spotify. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big part of the culture, and it's just. But this is a little bit different, by the way. Now, here's the thing. We're going to go through the story, and then we're going to look at the response to it. Now, in Cobb County, Georgia, a young rapper is facing a felony charge after his brush with a police officer is back in court. The case has garnered a fair amount of attention. Corey Jackson, 12 years old. 12-year-old Corey Jackson, the rapper in this case, a 12-year-old kid, is back in court and his attorneys deny all charges. Now, they say that, Corey J, which is his rap name, I would argue that he may want to work on that just from a artistic perspective. Doesn't really elicit the type of attitude that I think he wants in order to sell his mixtape. Faces an obstruction felony charge. It all stems from a situation in October 2018 inside of a food court at the Cumberland Mall when he was grabbed by an officer and threatened with arrest. The police report says he's been in trouble twice for selling his CDs inside a mall. So let's kind of look at that for a second, right? This kid, according to the police, had been in trouble twice before for attempting to sell his mixtape inside the mall. Now, a lot of people out there are like, why not just let the kid try to sell his mixtape outside in the mall? Well, there's permits. You know what I mean? Everyone else has got to pay rent to the mall. You can't just walk around and sell shit in the mall. You just can't. I wouldn't say it's an arrestable offense, but trying to, a couple times, doing it a couple times, you're going to get in trouble. Now, his attorneys denied that claim, saying when he was there, he was not selling any CDs or doing anything that would have been prohibited. He was there meeting other artists. Now, we don't quite know everything about this just yet. We really don't. We really don't. We don't know everything just yet. What we do have here is this tweet, and this has been going around today. This is from Qasim Rahid Esquire, otherwise known as Muslim IQ, on Twitter. Now, Muslim IQ here says 2018, 12-year-old country singer Mason Ramsey yodeled in a Walmart, went viral, signed to a major record deal. 2019, 12-year-old rapper Corey Jackson sold his CDs at Cumberland Mall in Georgia, violently arrested and charged with a felony. There are two Americas, ladies and gentlemen. There are two Americas. Except neither one of those stories, are even remotely at all connected. They're not remotely connected at all. 12-year-old country singer Mason Ramsey yodeled in a Walmart and got a viral video, ended up on Ellen, and ended up, getting his deal that way. This kid was not yodeling or even rapping in a mall. According to the authorities, he was, in fact, selling his CDs illegally, which he had been told twice before not to. That's what I'm hearing. Now, granted, the story on this is a little bit muddled as the news has not fully caught onto it yet, and because it's still considered an allegedly because he hasn't finished up going to court over it yet. You figured this happened back last year. Here it is near mid-March 2019. They would have figured out, but let's look here at the video. This because there's a video, and you guys can get an idea of maybe just kind of what the situation was like. Oh, sorry, let me turn that on. I thought I had that. My mistake. There we go. Okay.
H&M at 227. Stop.
Chase, where are you, Chase? He got his hands on me. We upstairs.
You're about to go to jail. You're going to go to a youth detention center if you don't stop.
He's not doing anything. He had his rights. He's not even doing anything right now, sir. Okay. And I have his father on the phone, and you won't even speak to him.
Yep.
So what you can do is let go of me, because I'm pretty sure my mind means I know
man,
what
nah, bro. You're not finna handle him like that. You're not finna handle him like that, my nigga. You're not finna handle him like that.
You put your hands on me again.
You put your hands on my motherfucking nephew. You put your hands on my motherfucking nephew.
Get him back. Hold on to him.
Bro, Corey, man, y'all, what the fuck you doing? No, bro, get the fuck off me, bro.
F3 is 10-3, F3 is 10-3.
Tell me, bro.
2494 upper level in front of H&M.
Okay, so just by looking at that, we can see here that that the kid was, being held by the officer who was clearly waiting for backup. The aunt who was with him, she attacked him, or she at least attempted to attack him, or there was some kind of scuffle. But what we don't see in this minute-long clip with 4.3 million views is anything before or after that clip. Anything before or after that clip. Now, if you notice at the very end there was another black security guard. I think it was a mall cop, and he was holding the boy also in that same. Is it like an arm breaker maneuver? Holding it into two parts so that kid ain't getting away. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's not like the cop was hurting the kid. The cop was just holding him in place, waiting for backup to arrive. The aunt freaked out, attacked the cop. The kid is now facing a felony obstruction charge. I don't know if it's because of what his aunt did, and he's trying to, obviously argue it as a way to get away from it and whatnot. And the thing is, looking at the story, I would argue probably the kid was selling the CDs or selling his mixtape, thinking that the mall would be a good place to do it because there's a lot of kids there his age. And I am in no way disrespecting the hustle that goes along with selling one's mixtape. But there are rules to doing it in the mall. But this particular story, based upon what we've seen in 2018 with like Permit Patty and Barbecue Becky and I don't know, whatever the other ones are, this particular cop is probably going to end up, I don't know, maybe maybe premature Paul Blart. I got no idea. I got no idea what they're going to call him. But I think the story itself is fascinating because this young rapper, was illegally trying to sell goods in a place where you needed a permit to do it. Yes, he wasn't hurting anyone. Yes, he's trying to get he's trying to run the hustle in order to levitate himself, or elevate himself, I should say. And I respect that wholeheartedly. But what he should do is just stick to SoundCloud like the rest of the rappers. Print out business cards with it. Maybe walk around with a Bluetooth speaker on his phone playing some music to people who may want to hear it, and then getting them to go to check him out on SoundCloud. I'm just saying, I mean, that's what I would do. But to be fair, I get the hustle of selling a mixtape. Over the years, I've purchased many a mixtape from dudes who are selling it because I want to support them. I want to support someone's ability to create art. And, popping a CD, you get, could be good, could be bad. You have no idea. But it's just, usually they're like $5. So like, fuck it, here's $5. Yeah, I'll listen to your music. But now we're living in the streaming age where everything's all on devices, But that's what I would have done. I wouldn't have let my aunt assault a cop, because that's only going to put you in a whole world of trouble that you don't need to be in. But here's the thing. If for some reason he's trying to use this to later on garner street cred, like, yo, I'm Corey J. I was the kid arrested in a mall. It's not going to be the most hardcore of origin stories, It's the kind of origin story where you're like, well, at the end, did you get milk and cookies and not 3 to 5 behind bars and Rikers? Not gonna carry the same amount of weight. But people out there are very much trying to defend this kid because we live in an age now where, obviously people who don't understand that the rule of law is necessary to keep things going can find themselves with a lot more popularity, because a minute clip somewhere can usurp all sorts of actual goddamn logic. All right, let's talk a bit here about Tucker. You guys been following this Tucker story, this Tucker Carlson story? This is crazy because everyone here says dumb shit, right? Everyone here says dumb shit. I say dumb shit all the time. I guarantee I've said dumb shit already tonight. But Tucker's in a very interesting situation because there could be some grander implications at play here, or I should say what we already saw with the Sword and Scale story. What could be a prelude to things to come for Tucker. Now Tucker here got outed by Media Matters, releasing a scathing clip and whatnot. But he's not going to bow to the mob. He's not going to apologize. Now this is a bold play. This is a bold move. Because he's not apologizing for shit that he said a decade ago. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Now it says here that a defiant Tucker Carlson refused Monday night to apologize for his comments about women and child rape that emerged Sunday night on social media. Oh, wow. See, when they say it like that, you're just like, oof. How bad is it? Well, the thing is, they don't actually link to the clips, the Media Matters clip that came out. Not the first one, at least. They do link to another one here. But he says, we've always apologized when we're wrong and we'll continue to do that. It's like, that's what decent people do. They apologize, but we never bow to the mob. Now that's true. You shouldn't bow to the mob, especially if you've done nothing wrong. But let's take a look here at what he said. He says this last night, and he kind of backed on this a little bit today. It says, Media Matters caught me saying something naughty on a radio show more than a decade ago. Rather than express this usual ritual contrition, how about this? I'm on television every weeknight live for an hour. If you want to know what I think, you can watch. Anyone who disagrees with my views is welcome to come on and explain why. Well, we've already learned that when it comes to Tucker Carlson, you can't really disagree with his views and expect to actually get on TV. There was that guy that called out Fox and being, in the pocket of the billionaires, really got under Tucker Carlson's skin, and they didn't air the clip. But then someone who worked at Fox leaked the clip. We got a good idea. So there's that. So we know that Tucker Carlson, even when he wears a bow tie, has a filthy, filthy mouth. But here's what he actually had said when talking to Bubba the Love Sponge, who, by the way, is the guy who recorded, or at least leaked, the videotape of Hulk Hogan nailing Bubba's wife. That whole thing from a couple years ago. Remember what eventually took down Gawker Media? Yeah, Bubba was at the center of that. But here's what Tucker says.
MSNBC's very own Tucker Carlson. Tuck, do you like coming on with us? Because I like you. I mean, I'm not trying to fag out on you or nothing, but I like you.
Well, I like you, too. And I mean that. You always say I mean that in a non-fag way, but I actually mean it in a completely faggot way.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Tuck.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Tuck.
Riveting. Shocking.
MSNBC's very own Tucker.
Terrible. Disgusting. Okay. I hear worse things on the internet 24/7. Seriously, read any one of my comment sections. And then here's another one. This is a little bit longer of a clip to give you, saying here, Unearthed Audio shows Tucker Carlson using white nationalist rhetoric and making racist remarks. How bad could it be?
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
And the way they treat women, I agree with you. Their culture is, but you're in their homeland, and you're over there as an American who they hate, and they want nothing more than the Americans off of their soil. So they're not going to play games.
They can just shut the fuck up and obey, is my view.
How could you salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something. He'd need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come where the fuck you want.
And at this juncture, you could say that and not catch a lot of shit for it.
You certainly could. I'd vote for you if you said that. White men have, they've contributed some, I would say, like creating civilization and stuff. I think they've done a pretty, I don't know, whatever.
Obama would kick your ass playing basketball.
Yeah, of course he would. Basketball, come on.
He's black, say it. He's a real brother. Hey, do you think?
I don't know how black he is. How is he black? For one thing, he has one white parent, one black parent. So that makes him. Well, why isn't he white? There's some really good, immigrants. I just think it's, people who come to this country ought to have something to offer. Be hot, be really smart. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, yeah, some of those were a little bit spicy. Some spicy takes. I don't agree with a lot of what he just said, but those are some spicy takes calling into a shock jock show. And if you call into a shock jock show, you're expecting to hear shock jock material. Now, unfortunately, the realm of shock jock material that would come in from the Howard Stern era, where it was mostly like sex talk and things like that. Again, something here in America we absolutely cannot stand on radio or television or movies. If a woman has an orgasm, it's an immediate NC-17. If it's a lesbian woman having an orgasm or a trans woman having an orgasm, goddamn, people are running for the hills and they're trying to call their local preacher. I mean, that's how crazy it gets from time to time. I think what he said was stupid. I think, there's a lot of context there that we're not getting, obviously, but I don't think we need context for all of the clips. I think there's enough there to kind of garner what's going on. But also look at the times. And this is a big key factor here. Look at the times. 2008, 2006, roughly, is when a lot of those clips took place. So over a decade ago, in a totally different America, a totally different world, calling into a shock jock show when shock jocks were still a damn thing. So I can understand why Tucker Carlson is like, you know what? I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to give in to this mob. And if you want to fight me on it, you can come onto my show. I kind of got to give him credit for the shitlord part of that. He's handling it like a true shitlord. I kind of feel like at this point, Tucker Carlson might win the banner, the crown for Internet Blood Sports. Now, his comments appeared on Monday night's episode of Tucker Carlson Tonight, which came after two different appearances on a popular radio show. Bubba the Love Sponge went out. Carlson made the comments during appearances that took place between 2006 and 2011. Media Matters surfaced additional transcripts on Monday night. In one interview, Carlson said the nation should invade Canada compared to its good-looking women and good fishing. Okay, is that like something that we don't joke about? Saying here, if I didn't like Canada, I wouldn't consider it worth invading. I mean, Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. That's why it wasn't worth invading. Okay, so clearly an over-the-top take on Iraq, which is not full of semi-literate primitive monkeys. That's my opinion on it. You can beg to differ if you want, but clearly he's making a joke. Clearly he's making a joke here. After an anonymous host in 2009 mentioned parts of Afghanistan beyond the control of NATO forces, Carlson said that the country is never going to be a civilized country because the people aren't civilized. Carlson can be heard saying in 2006 clip that he would vote for a politician expressing Islamophobic views, such as the following. If you're really heavily into Islam, I mean, I'm just sorry. I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. Well, again, let's take a quick look here at the where we were in the world in 2006. We were coming up on the 5th anniversary of 9/11. We're coming up on, we know at that point in time in 2006 that it was Osama bin Laden, that it was Al Qaeda. We know that we're currently fighting Taliban forces in Iraq. Even after the death of Saddam Hussein, the shit was still going crazy in Afghanistan. We know that a lot of stuff is happening over there. One of my friends was an EOD technician in Iraq in 2004. So I heard a lot of stories. And that's what it was. People were fearful of retaliation from that part of the world. And they're talking about the elements of Muslim rhetoric that was out there. Now, again, here it is years later, and many people still maintain those absolute beliefs. But there was a time when it was kind of like, I don't want to agree. I'm not trying to say this out loud, but it kind of feels like there was a time when it was all like, if you really hated Iraq and Afghanistan and that whole world for the extremist side of it, it was generally considered okay. It really, back in that day, post 9/11, it kind of was. And we don't live in that world now. And I don't even think Tucker Carlson himself maybe believes that now. But I think back then there was so much that was happening. People were still so mad from 9/11 that they put it on a whole group of people that they shouldn't have put it on. But instead, the actual extremists that were the ones behind it. That's my take on it. You can agree, disagree. That's all right. But we still have had these conversations about radical Islam even up now to 2019. I mean, look at 2016 with the migrant caravan going into Europe, and I think it was New Year's Eve 2015, or was it New Year's Eve 2016 with Cologne had the 1,200 sexual assaults that had happened, and that was like no one talked about it. There was all these like reports of like continued ongoing sexual assault from refugees that had come into Germany. So there's always been this conversation surrounding Islam, radical Islam, integration into West, whether or not refugees should be looked at. There's always been that particular conversation that never truly gets discussed, only in headlines and only in hyperbole. And it makes it very difficult, in my opinion. It makes it very, very, very difficult to even really have the conversation. Now, ultimately with Tucker Carlson, the question then comes down to, will he be fired? Will he be fired at all? No, not at all. Not one bit. Nah, he'll be fine. Tucker Carlson will not lose his job because Fox, he didn't say it on Fox. He said it a decade ago when he was working for MSNBC and CNN in that time, in that era. Called into a shock jock radio show to have shocking opinions, a lot of which seemed very over the top for the sake of landing the joke. Not saying it was funny, just saying that you can kind of see what happened there. And it comes out now in a way trying to get Tucker Carlson fired. Well, Fox News might come out and issue a statement, especially after the whole Jeanine Pirro thing from over the weekend, talking about Representative Omar or Ilhan Omar. Is it Ilhan Omar? I forget. Talking about that and the whole hijab comment and the fact that Fox came out and condemned her so they wouldn't lose any advertisers. We can kind of see that Tucker Carlson, it probably is going to go the route, even Jeanine Pirro, probably going to go the route of a massive left-leaning push in order to deplatform them via getting their sponsors to quit. Because that ultimately is the next step. And it doesn't just happen to YouTube. It happens to Fox News as well. So Tucker not apologizing, A lot of people out there are going to say, good for you for not apologizing. But the powers that be, the ones who sign his paycheck, might 100% think otherwise. And quite frankly, only time will tell on that. Jeez, that was a lot. That was definitely a lot. I appreciate you guys paying attention, so we can talk for a little bit. What are we looking at here? Let's see. All right, Anthony. Hell no, go Tucker Carlson. All right. So we can. What are you guys' thoughts on any of this stuff? You think it's crazy shit? You think what? I can take some calls on Discord too if anyone wants to jump in the Discord. I don't know if anyone's jumped in. If you guys want to jump on in at all, you guys can. We could do about maybe 20 minutes of conversation. This again was just more like wanted to kind of get this thing going, you know, and reboot it. And I think it was good. So if you guys, the 39 of you watching right now, if you guys liked it, do me a solid. Press 1 on the chat so I know. It helps me gauge. Have I listened to the last podcast on the left? Is that the one? Is that the one with let's see. The last podcast on the left is a weekly podcast featuring comedian and podcast host Ben Kissel, podcast producer Marcus Parks. No. I the last I'd heard about that podcast was one that was floated around for the podcast with Vadim Newquist, as well as I think Cult of Dusty and Tim Blake is what I had heard that was going to be popped off as. So I'm not too sure about that. So no, I haven't heard that yet. I'm sorry. I mean, well, the thing is, Anthony, what Tucker said, and a fair amount of it was actually was opinion. I don't know if I call it facts. I'd call it his opinion. If you find his opinion funny, that's all on you. That's good. If you like him, you know, and that's the whole point. Is it's simply just his opinion. But you guys are more than welcome to take it or not, and that's entirely fine. Yes, Juggernaut, press 1. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yeah, again, always you guys can submit stories to peskyadblock@gmail.com. You guys can call in 323-207-0499. I think I went through 5 stories tonight, and you know, these are a lot easier to go through when they're like this, I think. Let's see here. Any chance I'll cover anything related to Twitter in the next live stream? Are you still talking about that Q4 stuff, dude? Like, I mean, I'm not against it at all. I'm not against talking about it. I'm more kind of curious why it matters so much, RT, because I know you've brought it up before. And Anthony, I don't know why you're not a moderator. So that's what it's the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web. Man, that's sad, isn't it? Not sad, but that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, we live in an age. We live in an age where the internet's 30. The internet itself is 30 years old. It is. It's kind of creepy. That it's so fucking old. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit worried because I turned 37 in a little over 2 weeks. So I'm turning old. Let's see here. Are you the only one that didn't hear the pesky ad block when the gift came? Yeah, well, in the first part, you shouldn't have heard it because I don't think it came through the dash. Hold on, I can try it again. It should work now because I can hear it in my headphones. Why did Valve show a game about? Why did Valve allow a game about that? Oh, the rape day. Because they were taking a hands-off approach. It's a visual novel. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to call those a game or not. Do you look at Choose Your Own Adventure as a game? I mean, arguably, maybe, sure, yeah, you probably could. But the way I view it is they were trying to take a hands-off approach to it, which is a good fucking move. It's a good fucking move. But the idea essentially boils down to the fact that they should have let it stay. I think it was made in absolute poor taste. I think it was made in absolute. I think it was made specifically for the shekels, and I say that because on the guy's website right now, he's trying to sell it directly, and certain people are trying to get it taken down, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. So let's see here. Let's see. Have I heard about Julian Castro's remarks about Bernie not talking about slave reparations? Oh, Julian Castro is gunning for either a VP seat or a cabinet position again. That's what he's going for. Oh my God. Have I heard about cartoon reviewers being demonetized? I heard something about that. Like I saw a tweet pop up, and I forget who said it, which is why I covered the Jesse Cox one. That's why I covered that one. So, I think I'm going to cover a lot more YouTube related shit. A lot of these demonetizations and deplatformings. Because it still needs to be more voices talking about it. I think so. What are my thoughts on Leaving Neverland? I haven't watched it yet. 4 hours right now is an insanely difficult amount of time to invest into anything. I had trouble getting through Last Week Tonight in one go today. It gets difficult. I need to see it. Jacob, which movie? What are we talking about here? Let's see here. If I have Star Wars, oh yeah. I heard about that. I heard about the Republic Commando is free actually. Let's see here. Microsoft. I'm gonna go check that out. Actually, yeah. Let me see here. Oh, I typed in Microsoft and it brought up the Surface Pro 6. Apparently, I'd been looking at something like that. Eventually, one day, when I get the money, I will be able to get my hands on one of those Surface Pros. For the what's the word I want to use here? Oh yeah, the portability. Okay, Star Wars Republic Commando game is currently free. It's free. Let me. Can you download it to the Xbox 360? Can you download that at all? Let's see. There we go. Or to the Xbox One. Ah, shit. Let me remember my damn password. Nope. I'm trying to remember my stupid fucking password to get in. Ah, shit. I know I keep screwing up. Okay. There we go. That got me in. Oops. There we go. Okay, download to I'd like to be able to. Oh, okay. I need to. They're sending me a code. Jesus. Okay, I can claim it on this. Nice. I'll have to get my hands on Republic Commando and play the hell out of that. Why can't EA just make it? Okay, can EA get DICE to just release like a remaster of Republic Commando? Can they do that? Can we get that? Have we been like, we haven't been that bad of a species, right? We deserve something nice. I'm pretty sure if they got DICE to remaster, Red Dead, not Red Dead. The fuck am I thinking here? Republic Commando. That would be something, right? I think people would have some better love for them. So, see, Oprah made a supplementary interview to the 4-hour documentary. Oh yeah, I heard about the. I did hear about that. I heard about the Oprah the Oprah interview. Is it true? It was against Michael Jackson? Where do people stand on this? Because I've seen a lot of people coming out this weekend saying we need to cancel Michael Jackson, and I'm just like, but do we? Because I mean, you know, as much as I think that Razor Fist has kind of lost the plot in a number of ways, his video on that I still think is probably like his #1 video. I need to check out his. Why do I need to pay for it? It should be free. The fuck? I'll just download it later. I'll download it right from the app. Screw it. Have I caught El Ayuwoki? No. I don't know what that is. The literal country of Mexico had to release a statement telling its citizens they won't die watching a video. Seriously? Can you send me can you post that in the Discord safety? Post it in the news feed? Michael Jackson made you feel good. I don't know, Anthony, if you want to say Michael Jackson made you feel good, beat it. And then, you know, really kind of question where things are in regards to that sort of thing. Yeah, I'll have to check out the Razor Fist documentary on that thing, on the video on that. There's no evidence. It's the same kind of thing with the Vic Mignogna thing, right? Like there's no real evidence, but it's just it's accusations, you know, and I'll be very interested to see where things go. I did talk with a lawyer today who brought that up very briefly. It was just in a conversation we were having, and he had brought up the Vic Mignogna thing. Mignogna? I don't know if I'm saying it right or not. And if they were, you know, doing that, he said that he believes that Vic is guilty. And, you know, I don't know his evidence to back it up. So we were talking about it, and he believes that, you know, he'd heard about this guy years ago in the anime. Like this is, you know, again, secondhand stories, suggesting that Vic was more of a bad guy, you know, like, and the thing is, stories like that permeate constantly in Hollywood. So you have no idea if it's true or not. Go to the cops. That's kind of the way I see it. But I haven't, you know, dove into the Vic thing. You know, yeah, I know Nick Rekieta has talked a lot about it. So I figure he's, you know, I'm going to let that thing play out. People ask me to talk about it. I'm like, I don't know the whole story. I'm not going to like dive into something I don't know about yet. I think it's so fucking complicated that I just want to see kind of what happens, to be honest with you. I just want to kind of attack this one as a side thing. So there's that. You know, it is very much what it is in this case. Okay. All right. Let me just take a look here. Okay. Thanks a lot for posting that, Safety. I will definitely take a look at that. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'll be back on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Pacific. I do want to keep these like under about an hour and a half just because I'm tired. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun, and we'll definitely have to do it again tomorrow. And if you missed any of the clips or you want to check it out, you can always do the VOD. And of course, the clips will be clipped out individually and made their own things. So there's that as well. Again, thank you guys. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.